Yo. All right, I got to start this. We're having some technical difficulties. Big fan Breezy. I don't know I don't know where you went. Maybe you said you were in the invite. Maybe you hit the Google Hangout link, but I sent the link a couple times. So like I don't know what's going on, Brody, but I have a lot going on. I don't know if y'all saw Boomer Esiason. Uh, and some of that stuff on Twitter. It's not a big deal. It's it's okay. But I have a 5-hour show tonight on WFAN. I gotta go in and get ready for that. There's some other things I gotta do, meetings and stuff to close the week. Obviously, I wanted to connect on here with the Nets world, talking Nets fam. Obviously, it's a great time to be a Nets fan, and we got a pod. And I felt like I had to bring this shirt back out. You see it. You see it. New Nets, baby. Unfinished business. James Harden, this is none of your business. You're going to be a part of the business, but on the outside of the business. We're going to make money off of beating the Sixers. But, yeah, it's time, man. It's time. Here's Big Fan Breezy. Let's see.
Yes.
Let's see. There we go. I'm like, where is bro at? Like, I sent the link. Sorry for the delay. How's your mic? What's your sound check looking like, bro?
This is crazy.
Can you hear? I can hear you. Can y'all hear him? My holy
Can you
king.
hear me
You
now?
said you wanted to keep Harden, Keith. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly too. You coming in?
I can hear you. There's a little lag in your internet. I mean,
Coming in good.
yeah, as long as you can hear me fine, we should be good. There's a little lag in the video. Are you on Wi-Fi? Sometimes, because I hardwire in. I go Ethernet because sometimes the Wi-Fi will get choppy out here. It's like
And
streaming.
I can't see myself. I can see you.
Interesting.
I'm good.
You can't see yourself? Yeah, I don't know. We gotta get going. All right, let's start this up. Talking Nets, episode 150. 150. We would hit a milestone episode after the trade deadline, after we get rid of James Harden, after
So,
I'm like, yo, did you say something, bro? The lag is not working. We're not going to be able to do that this way. So from the top. Sorry about it, Big Fan Breezy. We'll have you on another time. It's not going to work out with the lag. It's not going to work out with the choppiness. And I got to be out of here by like 3:30. So that means we got to get rolling on the show. Yeah, hardwiring in. That's the thing. You got to have a Ethernet cord, a wire to hardwire in to cut the lag. There's no way we can record the podcast and the video on time with any lag. So here we go. We're going to talk about everything that happened. Now from the actual top. Talking Nets episode 150, 150 milestone. It is a milestone for the Nets. The James Harden era is over. The Big Three era ends. Well, for that Big Three, Scary Hours ends. But I think there's a new Big Three. I think the scariest of hours are upon us. We finessed the process. We got some new Nets. The past few weeks, I've been putting the losing streak in the title. No need to put the losing streak in the title. 10-game losing streak. I think last night's loss was on Steve Nash. We'll talk about it. Talking Nets and the Talking Nets fam and the Nets world and the new Nets. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talking Nets, episode 150. I haven't even mentioned the fact that we have a new intro song, theme song, and the backstory behind that. Obviously, you guys are used to hearing Jay-Z's Brooklyn, we go hard. But one, that's Jay-Z's song, copyrights. Now that we are monetized on YouTube, thanks to everybody in the YouTube chats, thanks to everybody that made this possible, we got to move differently out here and we can't use Jay-Z's song. Also, when you hear that Brooklyn, that's my voice, and that's from my guy, Mr. Encore. He cooked up a little beat for me. It's still in the process of being tweaked, but now we have our own Talking Nets intro song, and that's it. But don't bury the lead. Don't bury the lead. There's news out there. Does anyone know what happened yesterday? People in the chat. Yes, Spencer Dinwiddie did get traded for Kristaps Porzingis. It was crazy. It shook the whole NBA Twitter space. Everyone was talking about it in the entire sports world. Kristaps Porzingis on his third team. Spencer Dinwiddie on his fourth team. No, that's not what they were talking about. They're talking about Brooklyn and Philly. So the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers have been rumored for weeks to be trading James Harden, to be trading for James Harden, trading Ben Simmons. And one thing I want to address is my reservations, right? I've been telling y'all to relax. I've been telling y'all to chill because I know how these things work. There is no way that like 3 weeks ago, a trade could get done. So what is the point in all of the speculation and the rumors and saying too much? Some people jumped out of pocket. Some people jumped out the window with their takes and the things that they said, honestly. And I'm just not in the business of doing that. I'm literally on the radio where anything you say could be taken the wrong way or used against you. And I'm also a Nets fan, right? I'm a Nets fan. Keyword, Nets fan. I'm not a Harden fan. I'm not a Kyrie fan. I'm not a KD fan. I'm not a Ben Simmons fan. I care about the Brooklyn Nets. I care about the Nets team. So why would I want our team to trade at the time James Harden for Ben Simmons? Like that's not a good trade. But what a good trade it actually was to trade James Harden. We didn't just trade him for Ben Simmons. We get back Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and a first-round pick. You love to see it. The thing is, we won. And I don't care what any skeptics want to say. I saw people yesterday like, oh, worst fail ever. The big three. Worst experiment ever in NBA history. It failed. And I just think that's clown behavior to be celebrating 16 games that didn't work out and a team like the Nets deciding to move on and a team like the Sixers who literally had Ben Simmons held hostage. He didn't want to play for them. And I didn't want him to play for us, honestly. But now I've heard some more things. I've read some more things. And, yesterday when the news broke, Shams beat Woj out yesterday as far as breaking news. It was a great day for us. Not just Nets fans, but Sixers fans too. I feel like the Sixers fans feel like they won because they got rid of Ben Simmons. And I feel like the Nets fans feel like they won because they got rid of James Harden. These are two cancers, right? Different circumstances. James Harden quit on us. That's facts. The going got tough, and James got going. This guy is consistent with leaving. This guy is looking for the easiest way to a ring at this point in his career. And at this point in his career, y'all, I'm glad he didn't sign his extension. I'm glad that he's not in our future. What we tried to do was mortgage our future, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, last year, Taurean Prince, Rodion Kurucs, pick whatever, to get Harden, to pair Harden with 7-11, and then together we thought 7-11 and 13 could win the finals. Maybe they could have, but they couldn't stay healthy. They couldn't stay on the floor. Last year, we also had COVID protocols really pulling guys off the floor. Last year, we had Kyrie taking leaves for his family, taking leaves for the birth of his son, and taking leaves for issues going on in our country. Whatever. If James Harden couldn't handle that, then go. One season, right? I said that would be valid in June to be laughing at the Nets and say, the big three didn't work out. Scary hours is over. Well, it didn't work out last year. And forever people can look at last year and say, the Nets were defeated in 7 games. It came down to this much. For the people listening to the podcast, I'm putting my fingers together to show you this much space between Kevin Durant's foot in that line. It came down to this much space for the Bucks to go on and then win the finals. If the Nets beat the Bucks, we can, at least in our minds, think that we go on and win the finals. So that chapter is over. James Harden was just becoming a cancer. He quit on us. You could see his body language. It was done. I knew when he wasn't on the bench on the road games because I didn't see him come up lame in Sacramento. I didn't see him hold his hamstring or get hurt in Sacramento. I'm like, this is over, y'all. This is over, y'all. But I'm never going to be on the radio or be on the podcast reading into things too much before they're done. Before the trade actually broke, the rumors were like Danny Green with Ben Simmons and a pick. They weren't really they weren't really good offers. So why would I want the Nets to trade James Harden, right? Follow me here. Why would I want my Nets to trade the guy that we traded 2 of my favorite players away for in the Fro and in Vert? Why would I want to see the Nets trade this guy a year after getting him and not get a return? Well, we got more than a return. And I think I was listening to the Glue guys, and the Glue guys said for Karis LeVert and Jared Allen, right? Would you accept Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and picks? Yes, we end up with the better end of the deal again, right? Last year's deal sent Karis to Indiana. And please remember that if that doesn't happen, we don't get the early detection for Karis having cancer. Everything happens for a reason. The universe never unconnects. I am fine with Karis and Jared Allen being together in Cleveland. At least they got that Brooklyn energy together, two of the homies together. They're not in separate places now. And I'm good with the fact that they most likely never will be on the Nets again, because look what the Nets have. Ben Simmons. And let's start the conversation a little more. I see people in the chat going crazy. Do your thing in the chat. We'll take chat questions at the end. I've got like 5 voicemails, but I just got to get a couple things off my chest about Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, Sean Marks. Sean Marks just spoke today to the media. If you go look at Yes Network, they put it out. I think Nets Kingdom put some stuff out. But let's start with Ben, right? Why would I want Ben Simmons after what we last saw of him on the floor in the playoffs? Why would I want Ben Simmons after the way he handled the situation, which really he handled wrong? And that's okay. We can admit that he handled that wrong, right? And now he's ours. Now he's on our team. Last year, Doc Rivers was asked, can you win a championship with Ben Simmons? And he said, I don't know the answer to that question. Joel Embiid didn't have his back. This guy has come out in this year to say he has mental health issues. But really what I'm seeing with Ben Simmons, as now I read more and as I talk to more fans, Philly fans hated this man. They made his life a living hell. People showed up to his house, tried to damage his house. I heard someone tried to light his house on fire. I hope that's not true. He put his house up for sale. I saw plenty of t-shirts outside of Wells Fargo, pictures, social media images, I wasn't there, of Ben Simmons missing shirts. I even saw, you know how Philly, if you ever go to Philly or you talk to Philly people always say dickhead. That's like just a phrase that they use, like, shut up, dickhead. There literally are shirts with Ben Simmons as a dickhead, excuse my language, floating around Philadelphia. This man feels like he couldn't play with Joel Embiid, didn't want to be with Joel Embiid, didn't want to be in Philadelphia anymore. I hate Philly. I hate all their teams, the Sixers, the Flyers, the Eagles, and the Phillies. I get it. I understand. I'm from Jersey. And where I'm from in Jersey, if you go a little further south, you start getting into Philly territory where South Jersey people rep Philly like they're actually in Pennsylvania. So I'm with Ben. I understand. He wanted to get out. He's finally free. He wants to play basketball. He's 25 years old, younger than Harden. All they're going to say is that this man can't shoot. That's all I kept seeing. Wait till Nets fans see that Ben Simmons still can't shoot, won't shoot the ball. KD is on this team, yo. Kyrie Irving's on this team, yo. Patty Mills is on this team, yo. Oh, thanks for Seth Curry on this team. And pretty soon, Joe Harris is going to be back. LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be back. We got people that can shoot and score the ball. Cam Thomas, if you haven't been paying attention, has been coming along very nicely. I'm not worried about Ben shooting or knocking down an open three. He brings so much to the table that we need. Like Stephen A. Smith says, lay off the weed. This trade gave us pieces that we need. That's enough about Ben, right? Gives us a defender. He's 6'10". This guy can play point. This guy can also play small forward. I can't wait till we roll out. We'll see what the lineups look like. We got our 30th lineup last night. We'll probably break the record this year and have 40 of them because we just got 3 new players. Kyrie's still part-time. We're going to have a bunch of different starting lineups in the next month or so. But the next part of the trade is Seth Curry. Did I think that Doc Rivers, after coming out in the media and saying, I just get to see my grandkids more. I didn't care if Seth was a bum. I wanted him on the team so I could see my grandkids more. Seth Curry is literally married to Doc's daughter. Did I think that Ben Simmons trade realistically would include Seth Curry? I didn't. We all wanted Maxey. A lot of us were talking Thibault. I thought maybe they would include Thibault, but he is a defender that they absolutely need. And Maxey is young. That's their future. Seth Curry being in the deal, pleasantly surprised, because what do we lack right now? Shooting, 3-point shooting. That's one of the Splash Brothers' brothers, or his only brother. But you understand who Seth Curry is, I hope, right? He's a good shooter, and not just from 3. He hits mid-range shots. That's Wardell Curry's son, about to play in Brooklyn. And lastly, from the players and not the picks, we'll get to the picks in a minute, Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond, I don't know if y'all realize, as Nets fans, Andre Drummond had been rumored to be a Net for, I don't know, the last 3 years. And we thought we were going to get him in the buyout market last year. We end up getting him through this trade. He fits a huge need. What do we need? We need rebounding. We need just a stronger big, a stronger presence, a bigger body to put in there against Joel Embiid, who he just was backing up. If anybody knows Joel Embiid's game this season, it's Andre Drummond. He's also from here. He's from New York. I think he's Jamaican. He's going to be right at home. This is great. We got a great return. Here's the picture of from last year, Andre Drummond. It was already photoshopped. Like they already had this cooked up. I don't know why I can't get my hands on it. Boop. 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 There we go. I don't know who made this. I don't know if he's going to wear number 0, but great. Andre Drummond's big ass is on our team. Now we have a legit center, not Nick Claxton, who can't stay on the court, not LaMarcus Aldridge, who is past his prime, not Blake Griffin, who is not really a center. We have Andre Drummond, who can get boards, be a big body, play defense, and be a center. He don't have to take one shot. And lastly, the picks. I honestly thought that there was a chance yesterday. I said, it's the picks for me. We moved our picks. We traded away our picks with Harden and with DeAndre Jordan. And as Nets fans, we're used to going through drafts where we don't have a pick. And this last draft, we just saw Sean Marks hit on Cam Thomas, Day'Ron Sharpe, Kessler Edwards, David Duke Jr. I know, one was not drafted, but you understand what I'm saying about our organization being able to find young talent. I thought we were going to do something with those picks yesterday. People were rumoring Jeremy Grant, Miles Turner. I forget who else was out there that they were saying you could, trade Joe Harris and some picks to go get. Well, we didn't trade Joe Harris, which makes me definitely think Joe is going to ramp up and come back after All-Star, like Harden alluded to. If you remember that press conference, Harden said, we'll be fine once we get KD and Joe back after All-Star and once we get Kyrie back full-time, which that wasn't that long ago. Which to me, like when this 30 for 30 is made, when this movie comes out, when this championship DVD from the 2021-2022 season comes out, it should be called Unfinished Business. And I want them to like literally pull the curtain back and show us what happened in the new year. In 2022, just this first 5-6 weeks of the year, something changed. Something happened. And you can't blame Kyrie. You can blame him some. Don't let me say you can't blame Kyrie. He deserves some of the blame. But all of the people saying that Harden was mad that Kyrie came back full time. No, Harden quit on us once KD went down. And if you remember correctly, I was at a lot of these games at home when the Nets lost to superior teams, top competition, right? The upper echelon, the better teams in the NBA. It was KD and Harden, and it was not working. So when KD goes down and Kyrie is part-time and Harden is forced to play with DeAndre Bembry, who soured the day, well, not him, the Nets soured the day by waiving DeAndre Bembry. They literally could have waived Javon Carter and Nets fans would have been like, yes! Can't do it, I guess. Need a extra guard. I don't know. It led me to believe that it led me to believe that Javon Carter like played himself back into the Nets. He hit 7 threes the other night, and I don't know. They're keeping him around. We'll see how it goes. But Ben, Seth, and Drummond are veterans. I believe none of them have a championship ring, so they're hungry for that. And those 2 picks in the future will bring in more talent to join KD in the next 4 years that KD is here. I do believe Kyrie signs his extension, and I'm thankful that James Harden didn't sign his extension because we would have been paying this dude like $60 million a year in a couple years, and he would have been completely washed. He's heading in the wash direction. I'm sorry. He can once in a while give you a 30-point triple-double, which he's probably going to do with Embiid, but I bet you those two clash. Joel Embiid is troll Embiid. Joel Embiid, troll Embiid. He's a king troller. He's always goofing around. I know he's serious about his basketball, but what I just say, when the going got tough, Harden got going. So Harden getting going, like, what did he think? Does he seem to think that Joel Embiid is not going to get hurt? Because he quit on this team when KD got hurt. I think it's absolutely insane as a basketball player trying to win your first ring. You force your way out of Kevin Durant's team, the best player in the world? What does he think? Now, I know Joel is having a great season. I know Joel is playing like an MVP. I know Joel needs a superstar next to him. He probably banged the table for Daryl Morey to say, go get your boy. Ben is not here. Ben is not coming back. I can't do this on my own. Now he has Harden. And I am excited to see them play. Please chill with the Shaq and Kobe comparisons. Don't let anybody say this is the next Shaq and Kobe. Let's see. Just like they're telling us, let's see what Ben is. Let's see if Ben gets in shape. Let's see if his mental health is okay. Let's see if Ben blah, 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 blah. You know why I know Ben is good? Ben has already balled in Barclays. I've seen it with my own eyes. He used to bring Kylie through there. No, not Kylie. His girl is her sister, Kendall. He used to bring Kendall's little fine ass through. She'd come through the your secret entrance, sit courtside. Yeah, go Ben. You know, that also used to be Blake Griffin's girl. So we got some chemistry there, something for them to talk about, you know, Eskimo bros. Oh, and wait, the Aussie connection runs deep. Australia. Shout out to our Australian Nets fans. There's definitely some Aussies listening to Talking Nets. Now we have Kyrie, who was born in Australia. Now we have Patty Mills, you already know about, and Ben Simmons. There you go. Patty Mills and Ben Simmons will hit it right off. They'll be great. And Ben Simmons is going to come in here motivated. Evan Roberts was talking about how Ben Simmons' dad grew up in the South Bronx, so it was always a dream to play in New York, live in New York. His dad is going to come back. And then even his girl, too. What's her name? Mama Juana? Ben Simmons' girl. I'm not into, like, looking at other dudes' girls. Her name's, like, Jaya or something. Somebody put it in the chat. I know she's like an influencer or whatever, but he just got engaged. He's about to get married to his girl. Good for Ben. I hope this is a good time in his life. I hope this does help his sanity, his mental health, and I hope he's straight moving forward. But Harden, last thing I want to talk about is Harden. Harden will be defined by this. He will be remembered by this. If the Sixers go win a ring, he will be defined by this. If the Sixers don't win a ring and the Nets win a ring, whether it's tonight, the finals aren't tonight, whether it's this season or whether it's next season or season after that, this will define James Harden. This is the best team that he's ever been on, the Brooklyn Nets. And he forced his way out to go play for Doc Rivers and the Sixers. But really what I think is he forced his way out to go be next to Michael Rubin. Do y'all know who Michael Rubin is? You know who Meek Mill is? Here's a story for you. I actually got to resurface this. Back when we played them in 2018 or 2019, I actually interviewed for Michael Rubin. Like literally interviewed to be Michael Rubin's like social media man, like to be his digital guy, to be basically in his entourage, capturing content and posting on his behalf for his Twitter and Instagram because he's always been rich. He's always been an owner. He owns the Sixers. He owns the Devils actually too. He's part of that ownership group. But here he is. That's Meek on the left. That's Rubin on the right. And if you are into hip-hop basketball, you've probably seen this guy courtside at the Sixers game. He's been courtside in Brooklyn too. But what I'm saying is, I think Harden forced his way out to be next to them. Lil Uzi. I don't even know who else in Philly Harden might be trying to link with, but what do we know about Harden, right? He wants to be in the club. And I don't know what the clubs have really been like in New York with COVID. I really don't. Like, are you going to the booty club and showing your vaccination? Like that doesn't make any sense. Are the strippers all vaccinated? Are they even doing that? Are there secret clubs like underground in New York that he's trying to go to? He can't really be low. He's James Harden. He can't hide. But I think that he really tried to force his way out to get to Philly and be around more people that he, I guess, already knows, likes, and just wants to be around. And that's perfectly fine. The thing is, in this NBA player empowerment movement, in this NBA culture of forcing your way out and being a diva and things aren't going my way, I want to go elsewhere. And like that happened so quickly. Here we are with James Harden deciding that Philadelphia, like I'm from Jersey, bro, which is in between Philadelphia and New York for those of you that don't know any geography. But I've been in Philly and I've been in New York. I've been in South Jersey area. I've been in Brooklyn. There's no contest. I don't know what's in Philadelphia that this man wanted his way out so bad. I think it's deeper than rap. I think it really is like, yo, I don't want to be second fiddle, third fiddle. I don't want to have to carry. And he loved his strippers and he loved his food. And supposedly he didn't like the food here. He didn't like the weather here. He didn't like the taxes here. If he's trying to get his money up, I understand going to be next to billionaire Michael Rubin. And maybe the strip clubs in Pennsylvania are unrestricted and the lap dances are really going. This tweet came out yesterday from FKA Buzz Killery. Do not follow her. Do not know anything about her. But she said 2 nights ago, I just gave James Harden a lap dance and he told me he's a Sixer. And then yesterday when the news broke, she doubled down on it and she said, told you so. So this blonde-haired young woman from who knows where, y'all might know more than me, I guess she was giving Harden a lap dance, right? Meanwhile, the Nets are on a 10-game losing streak and this dude doesn't want to play. Is that okay with any of y'all? I guess if there's Harden stands in the chat, you're probably defending this man's behavior. All right, that's the 30-minute mark right now. I want to get us to some voicemails. I want to talk to you guys in the chat and get the chat questions. Shout out to Big Fan Breezy. He will be back on. We'll just get his camera situation and internet situation straightened out. Honestly, I want to do like a big round table where there's like 8 people in here, like all around the square, like Nets World round table, and have a bunch of fans in talking about the team. We'll probably do that. Maybe we could do that during All-Star break. That's actually a good idea. During All-Star break, when there's no games to talk about, we'll bring the fans on, and I will have all of you on here with me talking about the Nets, the second half of the season, what's to come, what's to be expected. Oh, yeah, I forgot, too. Nash spoke on Ben, and he said he has a relationship with Ben. He's met Seth. He's met Drummond, but he's got more of a relationship with Ben. I'm telling you, they were fine with it. And we will learn after the season, like Last Dance documentary style, maybe in 10 years, but we'll learn after the season, like exactly what went wrong. And I don't think it's the Kyrie status, because James Harden knew about Kyrie's status from the time camp started, right? He knew. And I don't care what you signed up for, bro. When you play on a team, things happen. There are bumps in the road on every journey. Anything in life worth having, you have to work for. It's not going to come easy. You keep looking for shortcuts, you're not going to get anywhere. So let's move on and talk about these games. Really no reason to break down these games. I've been telling y'all that. And I'll justify it. There's no point in me talking about how James Johnson or Bruce Brown or some of these guys played, because this is not the team, yo. This is not the team. But this is the main thing I wanted to hit on. So obviously it got ugly in Barclays. The team came back from the road trip back at Barclays on Tuesday. And we played the Celtics, who I hate. And of course we play the Celtics, right? I feel like we're forever linked with them, and they just like kind of pop up and rear their ugly head at times when it's rough for the Nets. You know, they fleeced us with that trade back in 2012, 2013 or whatever, and they pop up to smack us into our 9th loss of the, losing streak, 126-91, and it wasn't that close. The game started at 28-2. We couldn't buy a bucket, and I was just like, what is the point? What is the point? Someone asked me if I was going to go to the game. No, Evan Roberts went to the game, but he said he took 2 months off. I'm credentialed at the game now. I could do my job at the game now, like be on the radio and broadcast from the game now, and I knew not to go to that game. I knew what it was going to be. It was going to be ugly. And then you got James Harden out there, the bearded one in his Adidas hoodie, looking like a lame, yo. Looking like going out sad, going out super sad. Like, this is how you're moving, bro. This is how you really want to be remembered as a Brooklyn Net. And I had said don't put him on the bench, right? Because he wasn't on the bench last game on the road. But I guess he had to come out and be on the bench. He was still on the roster, but we just knew what it was. And, lastly, moving on to last night's game, the Nets lose 113-112. That one actually frustrated me. That actually pissed me off. Kyrie missed some shots, but he did lead the way with 31 points. He even missed a free throw late where I was like, come on, Kai, but he's not there yet. Like, he's not all the way, like, locked in and back to his usual self, because he's not playing every game. He's playing on the road. He hasn't played one game at Barclays. Cam Thomas, I'm very proud of. Cam Thomas has come a long way in a short amount of time. And in the beginning of the season, I didn't think he was going to even get that much time. 27 points out of him. 15 from Blake. Blake just consistently gives us effort. Is a veteran past his prime, but he's still contributing. He's still here doing the little things. James Johnson, too, with 13. Other than that, everybody else had under 10 points. And like I said, there's no point in breaking down guys on this team like David Duke Jr., who played 10 minutes. There's no point in breaking down Day'Ron Sharpe, who's probably not going to have any more minutes the rest of the season, but shout out to Day'Ron Sharpe for what he did during his time. The biggest thing I'll take from this losing streak in this time is that our youth, our young guys, learned a lot of lessons. They definitely learned the hard way through all of these losses, but I think it's going to make them better, and I think they'll be ready come playoff time if any of them are called upon. I think Cam will be, but we'll see with this new group of new Nets. And last, I got to take a shot at Steve Nash. The same way I have defended Steve Nash and held back from killing Steve Nash is the same way that I held back from saying, fuck James Harden, trade James Harden, because I'm like, wait on the organization, in Marks we trust, wait on the team and what the team does. But when you lose a game like that last night on trade deadline day, right, it goes back to coaching. Coach Nash couldn't coach us to victory. He hasn't been able to coach us to victory in this 10-game losing streak because he's just not that kind of coach. He's Canada nice. He's a super nice guy. He's soft-spoken. He's good with the media. I'll give him that. As a former player, former MVP, he's good with the media, right? He told the media we're not trading James Harden, and we all bought it for then. We knew we had to buy it for then, but we also knew that. What else was he going to say? Yes, we're trading James Harden. I can give you the details now. He couldn't do that. But like you hire a guy like Steve Nash because he's going to have a poker face on with the media. Great. Like that worked. But when you go through a 10-game losing streak where you literally have now dropped in the standings to 8th and you're 6.5 games back, and you've put yourself in a little bit of a hole here when you were literally the number 1 seed for like 2, almost 3 weeks, I have to start looking at everything. And looking at the game last night, I don't know what happened at halftime. I thought that was a game that we should have won. I thought that was a game that we had in the first half. And then we come out and we get outscored 31-19 in the third, and the end of the third was weak, and that momentum sucked because it gave us nothing going into the fourth. We didn't have anything in the fourth, and we lose that game to a Wizards team that was also down, right? Did y'all see Bradley Beal on the court? No. Bradley Beal is shut down for the year. Did y'all see Spencer Dinwiddie out there? No, he just got traded. You didn't see Trez out there? Trez just got traded. We lost to Denny Advia, Raul Neto, Thomas Bryant. It's unacceptable. These are still the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving is still on the team. Patty Mills is still on the team. You're still rolling out there with NBA players that have played for years, that have more experience than some of the guys that they just played against. But the difference is you don't have a coach that can make adjustments. You don't have a coach that can coach these guys up in the moment. You don't have a coach that gets fired up and can get emotion out of his players and push them to give us the little extra bit that makes up a 1-point difference in the game. I'm sorry, I haven't called out Nash, but I'm worried now, right? After all of this commotion, after all of this nonsense, now we have this team together, which I think is a better team. I think the Nets won the trade. But it's going to come down to us being in the playoffs and potentially getting out-coached. And that can't be the story this year. Injuries, that was last year's story. Injuries, KD almost willed the Nets to victory on his own. This year, I pray that we're healthy, but I also pray that it doesn't come down to Steve Nash got out-coached, got outclassed. Because all of the other coaches, if you look at the standings and you look at the teams, they're coached better than us. They're coached better than us. The Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra, or Eric Spoelstra, however you say his name. Billy Donovan, Mike Budenholzer, Doc Rivers. Like, there's just better coaches out here. They're going to outcoach us. And I don't know if there's help on the way, but this is the first time I actually had the thought. I'm like, if we fail this year and it comes down to Steve Nash and coaching, they're going to have to fire him. Because these things were all experiments, and it's funny. Nash experiments every night. I don't know how long you're supposed to experiment until you actually don't need to experiment anymore. You get all the data and intel you need from the experiments, and then you can do the actual thing you're supposed to do. I know, excuse Nash because he doesn't have his players. But you know what? When you don't have your players, coach, it's time for you to shine. It's time for you to coach up the players that you have. It's time for you to give us an edge, and he can't give us an edge. So I had to get that out about Nash. I don't feel great about Nash coaching this team to victory. I was on Philly radio last night, and they were talking about a potential Eastern Conference Finals between the Sixers and the Nets. And I'm like, they're like, who do you got? I'm like, obviously I got the Nets. I think we'll outplay you. We have better players. We have more talent on the roster, just looking at the names on the roster. But I'm like, but you have the better coach. And Doc Rivers can possibly scheme and figure out fits and different things for them to do with the combination of Joel Embiid and James Harden, where if our defense doesn't get together in this short amount of time, which we literally have a short amount of time, y'all, to get it together, we could be on the other end of a defeat by the Sixers, which will never live down. And I can't even stomach that. I can't even think of that possibly happening. So, Nash, get it together, bro. The honeymoon is over. I think a lot of Nets fans have been talking about Kenny Atkinson lately. Knicks fans as well, because the Knicks fans know that Tibbs is running them into the ground, and they actually need a coach that can develop young players. Well, Kenny is on the bench sitting next to Steve Kerr out there in San Francisco. Kenny wasn't allowed to drive the Ferrari here. They had Kenny riding around in a hoopty, and then they upgraded to the Ferrari, and they gave the keys to Nash. And now Nash is just doing the speed limit, and I'm like, please learn how to drive that thing. Please. Voicemail time. Let's get it.
Yo, Keith, the king. What's good, man? It's Rich from Jersey. I know the pod's coming out soon. I had to give you a call, man. I got to say, I'm thrilled with this trade. In Marks, we trust. I'm sorry. Like, I know Sixer fans are hyped right now, just like we were hyped last year to get Harden. But I'm sorry, man. I'll take Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Drummond, and 2 first-round picks any day over an aging Harden who's so disinterested.
I think that's it. But that's fine. I think a lot of us are in agreement. I haven't seen too many Nets fans going too hard saying that we lost the trade. We traded 2 guys. I was about to say we traded 1 guy. We traded 2 guys because I haven't mentioned Paul Millsap. Got him up out of here. Paul Millsap's another one, right? Fuck Paul Millsap too. You quit on the team too. You could have been playing through this losing streak, but you didn't want to. You didn't like your role. Like, you came over here ring chasing too. Everybody thought it was going to be sweet, huh? Everybody thought it was going to be an easy ride to a ring. Nothing is easy. Not in the NBA. Not in sports. You don't just roll into rings. So Paul Millsap was butthurt that he wasn't getting the time that he wanted. I think the most minutes he played was that OKC game. Embarrassing. And it was like, okay, so you're down to sit your ass on the bench for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, while we just lose games instead of playing. That's weak, bro. That's weak. You came over here for what? You thought you were going to win a ring? Like, I remember talking about Paul Millsap. The Bulls were looking at him. I think the Warriors were looking at him. And we took Paul Millsap and took a flyer on him, and it's a waste of a roster spot. So we traded Paul Millsap and James Harden, 2 guys that quit on us, 2 guys that, like, just having them in the building was cancerous because I'm sure guys probably didn't even want to look their way. We traded those 2 guys for Ben Simmons, who is an all-star and is going to have revenge on his mind. Like, he's going to be looking to prove the world wrong when he steps on the court. Seth Curry, who you already know, he's a pro, auto with the shot, like his brother at times. And Drummond, who's going to out-rebound guys and be a bully when we need him to. Next voicemail.
Hey, Keith, what's going on, man? Huge fan of the show. I just wanted to say, like, the whole Harden situation, this shit was like, oh, man, I already cursed. It's already done. My fault, bro. Damn.
You can curse on here. It's not the radio. You can curse on here. You can curse on here. I curse. I make sure I curse on here because we're allowed to curse on YouTube and on podcasts. This is not censored by the FCC. This is not the radio. You guys can call in and curse. I've already said fuck James Harden multiple times. You can curse here. We're all adults here. Well, there's definitely some kids listening. You guys can curse when you grow up.
Hey, what's up, Keith? Huge fan of the show, bro. I just wanted to say the Harden deal, I'm pretty disappointed with what we got back because, like, I felt like we had to get Tyrese Maxey in that deal in order to make it worth it because I really feel like if we had Harden, KD, and Kyrie, I really feel like they would have been able to get a chip. I really don't. I just hate how Harden could not wait like a week or 2 for KD to come back because once KD comes back, like, they're going to be straight. But, like, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about Ben Simmons, bro. Like, he doesn't have the it factor for me, bro. Like, we already seen what he did in Philly. Like, in those big games, bro, like, I don't know if he's going to be able to like, deal with the big moments and stuff like that. So, I don't know, man. I still feel like there was a better deal on the table, but at the same time, like, the Nets kind of had to get rid of Harden because he was being a distraction. And then also, like, next year, he was probably going to walk either way. So, I guess it's a W in terms of that because It's better to get that trade than nothing. But, yeah, man, huge fan. Keep doing your thing, bro.
Yes, we dodged a bullet, y'all. And I know in theory we were all sold on the big 3. I know in theory we thought that the combination of KD, Kyrie, and Harden on the floor together would be unstoppable. But we only saw it 16 times out of like 100+ games. Enough. You know, we're talking about experiments. The experiment failed. It's over. And the experiment failed not because KD got hurt, not because Kyrie didn't get the shot. The experiment failed because James Harden wants the easy way out. James Harden didn't want to carry anyone. James Harden wanted the easy way to be on the floor next to KD and Kyrie where he didn't have to be the guy. He didn't want to be the man. And now he's going to Philly where Joel Embiid is the man, and he's going to change the way that Joel Embiid plays. They got to figure it out. Let's see how they mesh. And yes, he didn't sign. Imagine if Harden signed his extension. I guess if he signed his extension, he wouldn't have thrown this whole temper tantrum and pouted. But like, I just feel like we dodged a bullet. We got 3 good players back and 2 picks that could be 2 more good players down the line. It got toxic, man. I said once we reached the point of no return, like, I don't know if I said it on this podcast, but I definitely said it on Carton and Roberts when they had me on Friday when the rumors started really heating up. I said, I don't want to trade Harden. We traded for Harden. Let's not give up on the experiment. I said the only way you give up on the experiment is if it's too far gone. If he said something or did something behind the scenes that he can't take back, that it's unrepairable, then ship his ass out. Let him go right down to Philly.
Hey, I just wanted to know, how long do you think the New York would actually take to lift their mandate to actually get Kyrie back on the floor for home games?
Oh, it's coming soon. It's coming soon. So, I think someone hit me in there like, how come y'all not talking about, the mandate being dropped in New York for masks for vaccines? And I'm like, well, there's a difference between New York State and New York City. New York State, upstate, has different rules. New York City, the five boroughs, they don't move the same as the state. You got to remember, this is a port, right? In history class, you guys learned about Ellis Island and you learned about the history of America. There are people from every country in New York City. Some live here, but some are coming and going daily. They have to be cautious, and they've been overly cautious for a reason. There are still people sick. There are still people in the hospital. It's not a lot of people, but there are pockets of New York where the resources are lower. People aren't getting the shot. People are still getting sick. It's wintertime. But I don't know if y'all feel the temperature today if you're in New York. I don't know if you checked your phones this week and you saw the forecast. It's 53 degrees right now. It's going to be 57 tomorrow, 59 Saturday. I don't know what Punxsutawney Phil told y'all or Staten Island Chuck, but it feels like spring is here. And if you look into next week, we're supposed to get a 60-degree day, a 59-degree day. So what happens when it gets warm in New York? People start going out more. Tourists start to come here more. People want to be in New York, living and being and eating and drinking and having fun freely. It's about business, y'all. I'm going to say this for as long as I have to say it. It's not about Kyrie. It's not about the vaccine anymore. It's not even about COVID anymore. It's about business. There are places by where I work in the city that, like, I went to get pizza the other day at Numero 28. And I wanted to sit down in there. And to sit down in the restaurant, I had to show my vaccine. Like, I had to show my vaccination card. They're not going to be doing that all summer. These restaurants that have been hit over the last 2 years, they're not going to be turning people away. They're going to be taking people. So to tell me that Kyrie Irving can't hoop in Barclays, when I literally see unvaccinated people in there that I know have fake vaccination cards and all that, it's blasphemous, bro. It's actually stupid. So what I'll say to the caller who asked, New York State dropped the mandate. It's coming for New York City. And I think this is the last month. You saw Kyrie going in today. You saw Kyrie's tweets today. Kyrie was having a blast on Twitter today. And he basically alluded to the fact that he's coming back. I don't know if y'all saw that. I'll try and find the screenshot. But I tweeted. I was like, Kyrie is tweeting like he knows he's good. Like he got word today that he's good. Like he's coming back. And maybe he is sooner rather than later. Because I've been telling y'all my timeline for a while was, before they pushed the button around Christmas, my timeline was now. That Kyrie would come back right around before or after All-Star break. And that he'd be clear to play not long after that. Well, I think he's cleared to play by March. And that's going to help team chemistry. That's going to help this team get better. And Kyrie Irving is going to be back on the floor in Barclays sooner rather than later. Let me see if I can pull up the screenshots for y'all so y'all can see some stuff from the tweets and whatnot. Yeah, so I said Kyrie tweeting like he about to be in Barclays. It's the last month. And bro was serving what's her name? Kristen Nets Karen the 50-year-old woman that like every day makes it a point to say that Kyrie should get the shot. I just don't know how these people have the time to be that lame and be so consumed by other people's lives and what goes on, but I guess it's none of my business. But yeah, he was just shooting different gifts at people, and I was here for it, right? It's not a big enough one. I need a bigger Kyrie tweet, because he basically was throwing out gifts and having fun on Twitter, and we have not seen Kyrie going at anybody on Twitter in a while. We have not even seen him using his Twitter unless it's to post the sun, moon, stars, Indians, Africans, and tribal memes. Where's this tweet at where he says, prepare for my arrival? There it is. Someone, who is it? Shit Nets fans say. If you're on Nets Twitter, you know that account. Shit Nets fans say just tweeted at him 3 hours ago and got him to respond. And I thought it was great because I'm like, oh, confirmed. This is what I thought anyway. Confirmed. Kyrie is back. And I don't know if it's going to be this month, but I think by March. He said, yo, Barclays ain't the same without you, man. Just being honest. And Kyrie replies, prepare for my arrival with the Darth Vader walking in the Death Star. It's time, y'all. It's time. Okay, a couple more voicemails, and then we'll take questions from the chat, and we'll wrap at the hour mark.
Yo, I apologize, Keith. This big fan, Breezy.
Breezy.
I wanted to say what happened earlier or yesterday was Sean Marks redeemed himself. We gave up a lot for Harden, and we didn't get everything back with a Javin and Karras, but it's debatable with Simmons, Drummond, and Curry. You know, Curry is just as good a shooter as Karras. Drummond is just as good a rebounder as Jarrett. I say what we lost with James Harden, we got a lot back with this trade. So shout out to Sean Marks. He's a championship contending GM. And, yeah, these are more pieces that Nash won't have to coach with. So I like the move. I wish I was there. Hopefully I could get back on one day soon.
Facts. Breezy, you're definitely going to be on, bro. I like your energy. I like your enthusiasm. I like the way you talk about the Nets, and you just made great points, right? I said we traded away Karras, and we traded away Jared Allen. And to trade James Harden, I didn't want to trade James Harden because I'm like, we can't get my dogs back. But in Marks we trust. And I'm sure he had that in mind where he said, okay, we traded away a scorer, we traded away a big. We need to get that back from this deal, right? If we're going to trade you James Harden, we need to make sure Nets fans have some guys that they can be confident in. And not just confident in. Big fan Breezy just said, like, if we're worrying about Nash's coaching ability, these are veterans. He ain't going to have to do much coaching of these guys. And I am banking on the fit. When I say fit, I don't mean the clothes, even though I got the fresh, unfinished business fit. You can't get this anymore. My John Boy Media collection has been discontinued. So I guess I got the rare one of one. But the fit is important. We didn't force the fit. We could have kept trying to force the fit of James Harden, Kyrie Irving, KD, or one Harden, or KD and Harden, or Kyrie and Harden on the road. We stopped trying to force the fit of these guys. Last year, we thought it would have just been an offensive explosion like people have never seen, and we rolled to the finals. The universe was not ready for this big three. That didn't happen. But now we have a better fit. We have better pieces. Our world, Nets world. Let's hit the chat. Like, Ben Simmons can't shoot. Good. We need somebody to pass the ball to KD. Harden would come down the court, take his slow-ass time. When he's ready, he either drop down into a step-back three, clank it off the rim, or drive to the hoop, get fouled, not get the call, or get fouled and cry about it, or not get fouled, not make the bucket, and then cry about it, not get back on defense. Now it's 5-on-4 in transition. I got tired of seeing that, yo. I know you Nets fans watch the game and watch the ball movement when it's Javon Carter, when it's James Johnson, when it's DeAndre Bembry, Blake Griffin, Kessler. These guys pass the ball. When James Harden's on the court, He just slow hogs the ball, slow rolls the ball, cries for fouls, and then he turns it over. He was good for 5 to 10 turnovers per game. Killed us. Like that, the points off turnovers killed us. This is a better fit. Whether Ben, and I think this is not just a better fit for Ben at the point guard spot. Ben can play the power forward spot. So we can throw different lineups and matchups at different teams. Wait on it, yo. Wait on it, yo. Y'all know I'm a fanalist. I'm not a former coach. I'm not a former player. I'm not an X's and O's breakdown film guy. I'm a fanalist. I give you fan analysis, fan perspective from watching the games as a fan my whole life. And I can tell right away that the Nets are going to just be a better unit. They're going to gel. The chemistry is going to be better, right? People talk about chemistry with the Nets. They stopped for a while because it seemed like the Nets were a good, unit. But I feel like James Harden was fucking up the chemistry. He was too big, too much about himself. All right, send your chat questions in. I would scroll back up because I saw y'all had a good conversation, man. I'm very proud of the community that we've built around our Brooklyn Nets. I'm very proud of the amount of you that show up to watch me talk about the Nets passionately. As a kid, choosing the Nets in New Jersey, I definitely didn't think I'd grow up to be on the radio talking about the Nets, to have a podcast about the Nets, to be doing social media stuff about the Nets. The Nets were ass for a good stretch of time in my adult life where I didn't think anybody would care about the Nets. There would be no point in doing this. So it's super fulfilling and rewarding for me to have 57 of you right now talking in the chat, and there was over 60 at one point. And you guys are who I do this for. I could have stopped doing Talking Nets when Talking Nets wasn't a part of John Boy Media, and I left John Boy Media to be at the Fan. But I didn't do that because there's a community here. There are people that love Talking Nets. There are people that love me, show me big love. And I love y'all back. That's why I'm going to start bringing fans on the pod. You guys can host the pod with me. So questions, fire them up, fire them up. Keith, do you trust in Nash? No, there's nothing to trust, yo. And what I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, I tried to slow walk it, right? Last year he was a rookie. And I'm like, okay, he's a rookie head coach. This year I'm like, he's not a rookie anymore. And now we're at the halfway point, past the halfway point. I'm like, okay, I still see the flaws and the error in your ways and your coaching style, and I'm not sure it's the right fit. If Kenny wasn't the right fit because he never coached superstars, Steve Nash isn't the right fit. He never coached a superstar. Until now, he was a superstar. But, like, if this thing all blows up, I don't know if I can stomach it, right? Because we thought it was about to blow up with the Harden trade, where the organization, for the first time, we were going to be looking at them sideways, like, what did y'all do? We lost Karras, we lost Jarrett for this fucking guy, and he quit on us, and now we have Ben Simmons. The next thing is going to be, okay, there was a big moment, and Nash didn't call a timeout, or Nash didn't challenge, or Nash put a stupid rotation in. I literally think Sean Marks has made it so Nash can't put a stupid rotation in. He can't put a rotation in that has Javon Carter, James Johnson, Bruce Brown, all on the floor together. Don't even get me started on these games during this losing streak. That's why I don't break them down and talk about them. They don't mean anything. We will literally forget about this. I saw that, like, this was our largest losing streak since 2016, baby. 2016, 2017 season. Interesting times for your Brooklyn Nets. Someone said, no more step back threes, thank God. Like, yeah, we're over that, bro. How about catch and shoot threes? I just want to see Seth, Patty, and Joe Harris draining them soon. Keith, do you think Philly was tampering? Seems like Harden and Morey planned this. They absolutely were tampering. I think Michael Rubin was in on it. I think Meek Mill was in on it. I've seen Meek Mill in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center a couple times. But I also think the Nets were tampering. When Ben Simmons came out yesterday and said he already spoke to KD, he already had a relationship with Nash. Him and Patty Mills are both from Australia. I feel like there was tampering on both sides this whole week. KD and Patty going to mentor Simmons and unlock the... Exactly. Maybe Nash can coach him up. I think he's going to be fine. What up, Brittany? Brooklyn. Jared says the Nets need to stop letting other teams shoot open threes. Well, Ben Simmons will help that. KD will help that. We'll be all right. I'm telling you, we'll be better than all right. Feo says, when KD returns, do you have a set amount of time in your mind for the new team to gel? I'm glad you asked that. And now, before we wrap too, we'll talk about the schedule real quick. So, do we have a set amount of time by the first round? We need to be clicking on all cylinders by the first round. I think KD comes back right after the All-Star break, which is the 24th. That's going to be a big night at Barclays. I'm going to probably try and be there for that. I think that's a Thursday after the break. So the break starts after Thursday's game against the Wizards coming up. We have a few games that are going to be very important coming up for the Nets. This Heat game tomorrow, we probably lose. But we already have reports that Ben Simmons, Drummond, Seth, like they're gonna join the team out in Miami. And I was so pumped to see Kevin Durant with the team again. Like, obviously he went back to Maryland, DC, where he's from, but I was pumped to just see him on the bench because I'm like, we lack leadership and we need him to be the leader of this team, even if he's not playing, just to vocally be there. So here's a look at the upcoming schedule. I already said the Heat game tomorrow. We'll probably lose that game in Miami. The Heat are tough, and we just ain't got it right now. It's fine. But then we should beat the Kings in Barclays on Valentine's Day. Would love it. And then we go to Madison Square Garden to face the Knicks, who beat the Warriors last night. So they're riding high. Julius Randle has been balling out west. I guarantee you he doesn't ball like that against the Nets, though, with his own fans telling him he sucks. He'll probably, go back to like a 15-point game instead of 30. Then we run it back with the Wizards. We better beat the Wizards on the 17th. By then, Drummond and Seth will have a couple games under their belt. I'm glad we got reinforcements for that Knicks game too, because we haven't lost to the Knicks in this new era, and I intend to keep it that way. Celtics, Nets on February 24th. That's a big one. That's going to be the first game back after All-Star. KD could be back. Joe Harris could be back. Ben Simmons could make his debut. And then after we have that whole party and that whole night, we go out Saturday to Milwaukee to face the Bucks. And the Bucks have been rolling. They've been bullying. And that'll be a good test. Even though we won't be ready, like, let's bully. Let's see what we can do. Let's ball and see if we can contend. And then we got the Raptors, who have been actually better than expected. They scare me a ton. They put together a team that has been winning games, and they could be a competitive team that's a lower seed that's going to shock some people. So, all right, y'all, last call for questions because I've got to get going. I've got some things to do before I head to the station. Imagine Harden starts getting all the foul calls now. Nah, we will call the league on that, and Nets fans will be on Twitter all about that because all of a sudden the Harden patch is gone because he's playing with Embiid. No way. Hated them turnovers. Big Fan Breezy says, does Cam Thomas start over Seth? Oof. No. Can't do that. He's a rookie. Seth is respected in this league. Cam has been great, but I really like Cam in that six-man coming off the bench role anyway. Jared says, can the Nets win before the month of February is over? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we beat the Heat, but the losing streak should end on Monday against the Kings. And then if it doesn't, it'd be great for the winning streak or the losing streak to start with a win against the Knicks. That would be some kind of poetic justice in a way. Keith, do you trust Seth Curry? He's Doc's son-in-law. Heard Seth was mad about the trade. Do I trust him? Yeah, I don't think he's going to come here and sabotage us. James Harden was on the floor literally throwing the game, sabotaging us. So do I trust Seth? Yeah. Now, you can be mad, but then you go to sleep and you get over it. And then you get back to business and you realize I'm going to Brooklyn to play with the best player in the world and some of the other best players in the world for the chance to compete for a title. So even if he wanted to be close to his dad-in-law, father-in-law, whatever, this is business, bros. This is business. If you think Joe Harris, Jeff says, you think Joe Harris will be back before the end of the season? I do. And I think Joe has wanted to come back. I just don't know what the holdup is, if it's a ramp-up thing, if it's a setback, but we need Joe. And I really think Joe is coming back because he didn't get traded. Joe didn't have a good end to the season last year. Y'all all know that. And he didn't have much of a season this year, so wait on it. Keith, tell me you won't be happy to see the Nets eliminate the Sixers. Won't be happy? I will be ecstatic. I'm planning on going down to Philly. If we get into a series with them, I'm driving right down to Philly. Did you see Joe Harris being shopped now that we have Curry? Yeah, but the deadline is over. And there were rumors that Harris would potentially be moved, and he survived the deadline. I feel Drummond gets lost in this. He can ball. Nah, he don't get lost in this by me. I already put his picture up right there to be like, Nets fans, we already wanted this guy for the last couple years. From the Pistons to the Cavs to the Lakers. We've been talking about getting Andre Drummond in here for like the last 3 years. So respect to Drummond. He's from here. I think he's going to be pumped to be here. And I think that'll change Seth Curry's tune. And I know Ben Simmons is pumped to be here, so they'll be fine. Jared says, you're missing my question, Keith. Where's the question, Jared? Can the Nets win before the month of February is over? I said that. I think I'm just back further in the chat than you guys are, putting everything in the chat live. Let's see. One more question. Will the Nets ever win games before the month of February is over? That's the same question, Jared. I think they definitely will win a couple games this month. Maybe 3 or 4 games this month. We'll see. Why Nash think he's Phil Jackson with the timeouts? Bro, I got no answers for you about Nash. He did have a good timeout last night, but, you got to coach these young guys up. You got to coach these veterans up. You got to coach the team up. Ben better be wearing number 10. Yo, that would be hard. I don't know if you guys watch Ben 10. I think he might wear – I don't know what he's going to wear. They haven't put that out yet, but 10 would be tough. What are your thoughts on Joe Harris' injury? I think he's coming back soon, bro. If you think about it, it has been 3 months. He got hurt November 15th, so that was a whole month of December, January, and as we approach the 15th next week, it will be 3 months with an ankle. And I know he had a setback, but an ankle is a ice up, son. Ice up for a week and get back out there. Tape it up and go play. Ben going to turn up for the Nets? Hell yeah, he's more motivated than ever to shut people up and prove that he belongs and go win a championship in spite of them. I think Carton made a joke on air. He said Ben should wear number 76. I intend to keep it that way. I'm not sure what Faye I was referencing. I think I might have said that. But all right, I got to go, guys. I got to go. Let me see. I don't see any more question marks, so we're going to wrap this thing up. Do you think we need a vet point guard? If so, who? Yeah, Kyrie can play the point. Ben Simmons can play the point. If we really want to, put Javon Carter in, we kept him, he can play point. We have a bunch of guards, man. We'll be fine. Oh, it's confirmed that he's wearing number 10. Did that come out today while we were live? Cool. Everybody's saying, yeah, 10. They put Ben 10. I don't know if he did Ben 10 because of the cartoon Ben 10, but I think that shit's tough. I might have to go Photoshop Ben Simmons over Ben 10's body. Facts. Kyrie is a point god. Wait on it, yo. They're going to figure it out in practice. One more question from Jared. Jared, one more question means one more question. Just say another question. This is your third one more question. Will the Nets get Taco Fall? I'm not answering that. What would your rotation be when everyone comes back? I would like to see a death lineup of KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond. Now, Joe Harris, maybe, but I think we need to bring Joe Harris off the bench as a shooter. I don't know what else is going to happen with LaMarcus Aldridge or Claxton, but give us that death lineup of the Nets and the new Nets. Love your streams, Keith. Appreciate y'all watching, man. I just got to run because I got to go to work. Brandon Ingram to the Nets next year. B.I. and KD, maybe. All right, y'all, subscribe to the pod. Make sure you rate us 5 stars, write a review. Reviews always help as people check out Talking Nets and they search Talking Nets and they want to see what people think about the podcast. It's just me out here, y'all. I do everything from the editing to the posting to the social media. Next year or in the offseason, I'll probably figure out an actual team. But don't pity me. All I'm saying is just me. So your support is appreciated, and that's why I do this. I don't get paid for this yet, and I do this for the love of the Nets and the fans. So call the voicemail. We had a bunch of voicemails today, which is always cool, and I sent it out like 30 minutes before the show. 201-870-0461 is the voicemail. If you're on YouTube right now, hit like. If you're on Twitch right now, hit like. If you're on Facebook right now, hit like or whatever. Play with that algorithm. And, yeah, that's all I've got for y'all. Appreciate y'all. The pod will be out for audio-only consumption in about an hour, and then I got to head to New York City. Shout out to Kevin Durant for not picking James Harden in the All-Star game and leaving that to LeBron. And I am pumped to see Patty Mills in the three-point contest. I remember Joe winning it a few years back. I remember Spencer winning the skills challenge a couple years back. So it's good to have Patty in it, and I'm pumped to see what Patty does in that challenge for the Brooklyn Nets. Bring another one of those trophies back to the Clays. All right, y'all, that's all I got. I'll be on air tonight. 5-hour show on WFAN. We're definitely going to talk Nets, talk trade deadline, talk NBA at some point. I got a couple guests joining me, but it's a football Friday. The Super Bowl is on Sunday, and we'll talk about Rob Manfred and the lockout too. It's going to be a full-on show. I'll set the table for y'all later. Call WFAN if you want to talk to me on air. And once again, I appreciate the support and thank all of you guys for following and supporting Talking Nets. Our world, Nets world. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Brooklyn.